Sagittarius, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries. In these videos, every single week, I review the major planetary aspects and transits of the week, and I let you know how they are aspecting your natal sun and what that means for your day-to-day. To enjoy this video and understand this video, all you need to know is your birth date. I will translate everything else for you. I'm going to start really broad with the big stuff, the charts for the day and for throughout the whole week. And then I'm going to focus that down into Sagittarius specific information. And then I'll break everything down into the 3 decans of Sagittarius. A decan is not actually a place in the sky. It is just a sort of a tool that astrologers use. We break every zodiac sign into 3 separate parts because every zodiac sign is 30 degrees. And if you break it down into 3 parts, that breaks things down into groups of 10 degrees. That's a decan. And it's within that 10 degrees that you can tell whether or not an aspect has any kind of mojo or power or real momentum behind it. It's really over that 10-degree point where it starts to create a different aspect entirely. So it's sort of a demarcation tool that we use, and that's what's going to help me understand what's impacting you specifically, because not all Sagittarians are being impacted the same way. That is not the case. That is not true. And one of the many reasons why actual traditional horoscopes are trash. I'm just going to let you know that right now. So let's dig in. Let's get into the big stuff. This is for the week of August 22nd to the 28th of 2023. Here we go. You ready? Big stuff. Woo, we have the sun moving into Virgo. Happy Virgo season to any of your friends. Let them know it. Their birth dates are coming up, just so that you know. The sun moves into Virgo on the 23rd. The sun in Virgo is very different than the sun in Leo. Sun in Leo is just confident and I want to have fun and optimistic. Sun in Virgo is let me get down to serious business and let me see if everything is working, because I'm not going to feel good unless it is. And it's running like clockwork. It likes to sort of put the spotlight on a process, on the way I'm getting things done and the effectiveness and efficiency of that. So very different energy from sun in Leo, but especially since as the sun moves into Virgo, it is in opposition to Saturn, which makes us feel even more pressure with current status quo, rules, laws, regulations, this sense of, but it's not making any sense and it's not fitting in and it's not working correctly. And that might be part of the malfunction or dysfunction, but it's definitely going to be like taking a hit from your boss, feeling super, super pressured to be at work or when you're at work or everything else. It could really add a lot of stress, especially in the way that you feel like you're not good enough or you feel like you're never going to keep up. So difficult energy, yes, as we begin Virgo season. It will not last throughout all of Virgo season, but as we begin Virgo season, it's a tough entry. Let's put it that way. We also have Mercury going into retrograde on the 23rd. So a lot happens tomorrow on the 23rd because this message debuts on the 22nd. So Mercury goes into retrograde at the same time that the sun goes into Virgo while it's in opposition to Saturn. Can you say shit show? It's like all of a sudden everything gets sucked into quicksand and you can't move, and if you try, you get yourself into bigger trouble. There is this energy of everything not only slowing down, but becoming very internal. Like that's the only move you can make now, feeling very personal and feeling very set upon. So the expectation, it's going to eventually dissipate. Mercury retrograde will be over by the middle of September, but even toward the end of this week, you won't feel the thud the way that you will at the beginning of the week. It can get pretty intense because of all this happening at the same time. On the 22nd, we actually have an interesting opposition between the moon and Jupiter. And the reason why that's interesting is because the sun is also in opposition to Saturn. So there is a sense of, because of all this crazy restriction, we might feel more tempted to overindulge and be more decadent than we normally would be or should be. Also, emotions could be running high. So the 22nd could be also a very emotionally dramatic day where, in terms of how you react to all these attempts at sort of oppressing you, keeping you back, holding you down. You could feel that in an exaggerated way on the 22nd especially. All week long, we have Venus square to Jupiter, which is decadence. It's overindulgence. And that could be because we're feeling so much pressure and anxiety in other places, unless, of course, you're on vacation and then you're just like super overindulging. And there is this sentiment this week of like, almost like coming back from vacation, you know, that feeling of, oh, I've indulged, but I've spent too much and I've eaten too much. And now it's like, or going back to work after the holidays, you know, like, you know, you've gained that 10 to 15 extra pounds. You know, you haven't been, you know, doing anything but watching movies and hanging out with the family and feeling good. And now all of a sudden there's like reality hits hard, is kind of what it's saying. And probably this is what it's going to feel like, especially today, and then into tomorrow. It's like reality suddenly hits really hard. Now globally, that could be when everybody really takes a huge thud in terms of the recession. And so what comes out of that could be quite disruptive, is what it is in terms of globally. That could be what we're being set up for. We also have Mars moving into Libra by the 27th of this week. That's another energy that slows things down. In addition, Mars is in opposition to Neptune all of this week, which also slows Mars down or makes Mars react to shadows or phantoms, makes Mars, like the action that we take, more like it's not doing anything, or we're reacting to feeling like we're not good enough, right? So trying to make up for our inadequacies or our perception of our inability to do things, and just starting to behave and act on stupid shit, right? This is very self-deceptive energy. We also have Mercury in opposition to Neptune all week while it goes into retrograde, which is almost like complete and total brain fog and distraction, and making intelligent decisions that aren't intelligent. They're based on BS. So it's almost like somebody's trying to BS us or trying to bamboozle us, or maybe that is the expose that is going to be happening this week. It'll become very, very clear. What I'm saying is it'll become very, very clear exactly what is sort of whittling away at our personal freedoms and development. Okay, just so that you know. What else didn't I go over? No, that's about it in terms of, there is a grand trine here between Pluto, Mars, and Uranus that goes through the 24th. Through the 24th, then, there's a level of complacency with these changes. That might break apart eventually, because the complacency might simply be chipped away by the level of frustration everything is causing. Let's go into Sagittarius specific information. Okay. So we have Jupiter. Well, this is what I look for Sagittarius specific information. Two things. What's going on in the zodiac sign of Sagittarius, and then what's going on with your ruling dignitary, which is Jupiter. Because that kind of, you know, Salt Bay flavors all that happens to you. And what's going on in Sagittarius will definitely be impacting you guys, because it will eventually conjunct your natal suns at one point. So this week in Sagittarius, all we have really is the moon, and that will float on through from the 24th through the 26th, which means over that time, each of your natal suns will conjunct the moon, and whatever other planets you have in Sagittarius, the moon will conjunct at one point, which can volumize and make more dramatic or more emotional those energies that it conjuncts. So since we're just talking about your natal suns right now, that's actually a beautiful feeling. When the moon conjuncts the sun, it's almost like a great time to start something fresh and start something new. It's like your own mini new moon. There's just this sense of, and it will happen once a month. So there's this sense of renewal based on the fact that you're very sure of yourself when the moon is conjunct your sun. It's like there's a solid energy to know your feelings and your emotional truth. And so new beginnings can be very kind of second nature around this point. It's a powerful time to welcome in something that will really make you feel fulfilled. That happens between the 24th and 26th. And when I break down the decans, I will get into exactly when it's impacting each of you. Now, what's happening with Jupiter? Jupiter is in Taurus. It's moving between 14 and 15 degrees Taurus. Jupiter is square to Venus all week long, and that is about overindulgence and decadence, as well as just partying a lot and just having a good time, but being a little excessive with it, including spending money. So that will become painfully clear by the end of this week if you've spent too much. And then we have opposition to the moon, and opposition to the moon on the 22nd, which we talked about, which can be a excessively emotional day. And then by the end of the week, Jupiter will trine to Mercury retrograde by the end of this week, middle to the end. So what does that mean? That there is some sort of either good news or news that helps sort of us expand and grow that could finally be being discovered or realized or put together. Could even be because of some foreign entity, or by thinking outside of the box, some insight from a different culture or whatever that comes out and is sort of made known, that kind of comes along to help things out by the end of this week. So could be good news on the horizon for you guys, especially with that Mercury retrograde energy, anything that may have been passed over too quickly. Let's break things down into the decans, Sagittarius. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Sagittarius, it falls in the first decan of Sagittarius. So you guys are Sagittarius ones. This correlates to Sagittarius birthdays basically in November, right up to the Scorpio cusp. So November 21st, 22nd, 23rd are the cusps. Usually Sagittarius ones go between the 21st or 22nd all the way up through maybe December 1st. So your natal suns are going to be conjunct the moon on the 24th of this week. So look to manifest or welcome new things into your life on the 24th, and to really get a sort of solid understanding of what you feel and what is right for you, what really helps you balance your emotions with your purpose or your trajectory. All week long, your natal suns are square to the sun, so there could be a little disruption here when it comes to confidence or courage, and just challenges with that. I think the moon conjuncting your natal sun might help out a bit, or just at least help make things evident. Things as in, what is compromising your courage? Like, those feelings might be very easy for you to understand on the 24th. You are also in a long-term square to Saturn. And if you remember what I was saying with the big stuff, is the sun and Saturn are on opposition. That means that your natal suns are square, right in this, your natal suns are right in the middle of that opposition. So it could be that you're challenging things from both sides. This sense of, getting scared or feeling crushed from both sides. Like your natal sun square the sun, lack of courage, or something that's challenging your courage or your confidence. And then also square to Saturn, your natal suns are square to Saturn, which means it could be laws, rules, regulations, or some sort of authority figure that is challenging how confident that you are capable of feeling. But at the same time, there is this energy of you being caught in between somehow. So there could be extra added pressure. We have a long-term sextile to Pluto, which means you want change, dynamic change. You're open for it, ready for it, and over the next 2 years, you're going to go for it. But you also have this week a sextile to Mars, which means the energy is running high, and to take physical action on things is something that is highly recommended to make you feel better, feel more productive, but also get out some of this energy and have more vitality, have more sexuality, have more sort of mojo. Is that kind of energy that comes to your sense of self when it comes to Mars. You could also have more of a tendency this week to jump at things and take action at things, but because it's a sextile, that will open doors for you. You know, it's just a more physical energy that will provide relief for you as well as potential opportunities. So, could be a pretty sexy week, to be honest. Not necessarily romantic, but pretty sexy. Let's move on to Sagittarius 2s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Sagittarius, it is in the second decan of Sagittarius, and you guys are Sagittarius 2s. This correlates to Sagittarius birthdays between the 2nd and the 11th of December. Your natal suns will be conjunct the moon on the 25th, so this is definitely a beautiful day for you to work your manifestations and all the wonderful stuff that you want to welcome into your life. You have a trine to Venus retrograde this week that is going to harmonize your sensuality, your feelings of happiness, your optimism, and actually make you real attractive and real beautiful, feeling real freaking good. It is a great time to redecorate your sense of self or your space. It is a great time to balance out that checkbook and maybe get good news when it comes to something financial. This is a really helpful and lovely energy. You have a long-term trine to Chiron, which means that there could actually be some healing in terms of anything cosmetic or anything like in terms of your personal aesthetic. You could be healing from an injury. You could be feeling like, oh, I'm back again for the first time. You could be feeling like you feel right in your own skin, or you're learning or getting comfortable with your value systems after you've learned the hard way, right? That's kind of what Chiron is. And then you also have a longer term energy, which is this quincunx to Jupiter, which means you really want to move forward. You are like this odd energy of I want to break free, I want to expand, but I don't necessarily know how I'm going to do it. Now that agitation could either cause frustration and discouragement, but I don't think it will this week. I think this week it'll be more about encouragement and inspiration. That's how I think it'll impact you this week. Let's go to Sagittarius 3s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Sagittarius, you guys are Sagittarius 3s. This correlates to December birthdays between the 12th and the 22nd of December. So right up to Capricorn cusps, which would be about the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, depending on when Sagittarius season ends that year. So it's about that range of birth dates. You guys would be Sagittarius 3s. Your natal suns are going to be conjunct the moon sort of by the evening of the 25th in through the 26th, right? So the beginning of Sagittarius 3s will be on the 25th, but by the end, those Capricorn cuspers will be more the 26th. This is, once again, a very productive time for manifestation and for you to really, really feel the vibrations of what you want to welcome in your life to the point where you will manifest it quicker. Cusps only are sextile to Saturn right now. This is opportunity in career or whatever you are actually managing to create and build out through your hard work and tenacity. This is also a sense of more assuming an adult or leadership role in your personal life and maybe even your family space. That's especially cuspers for this whole year. There's a long-term square to Neptune. So with Neptune squaring both Mercury and Mars, this is a highly active energy, and there could be extra deception and extra vulnerability for you this week to fall for shit that isn't real. So just be on the lookout for that, because you could be wasting your energy or being very distracted on daydreaming. If you're on vacation this week, this could work better for you because you're not making important decisions, but it's also a highly creative time for you. So it could inspire a lot of creativity that you, especially if you're on break, will be able to actually delve into. But if not, definitely still find time for this next couple of years to allow your creativity to evolve and to have an outlet for it, because that will help this energy become very productive. Your natal suns for the next couple of months are trine to the North Node. That means adaptability and acceptance into your responsibility for your own life and realizing that you have to make the tough choices in order to move forward. So this is definitely a harmony when it comes to, because the North Node is in Aries, your sense of individuality and personal responsibility, but also personal space and who you are as a person, and a sense of tranquility with that, and not needing so much to be with somebody else as much as it is being confident with who you are. This doesn't mean you're not in a relationship. It just means that you're starting to see you're starting to have a healthier sense of independence, is what I'm saying. You also have a long-term quincunx to Uranus, which means there are curveballs that will come at you left and right, some good, some bad, but the delivery of them will always be a spur in your side, because the surprises will not be things that you can predict. That's for the next couple of years, and it could actually make you sort of kind of generate the energy of surprise yourself, and a sense of, I want to assert my individuality even more, especially with that trine to the North Node that is in the sign of the self, Aries, right now. There is more likelihood for you guys to want to, or be able to, kind of go out on your own and claim more independence than you have in a long time, and especially need it. And those things that are not giving you that independence will really feel like thorns in your side, and can be very disruptive to the relationships if they're people, especially. So you let me know. You let me know in the comments below how this energy is impacting you, how you're experiencing it. Don't forget to like and share this video to share your enthusiasm for the information here. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe and help us grow here on Astrology Motivation. And then come on over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card message. Sagittarius, I'll see you guys in the videos. Bye.